Hello, good morning, everyone. And today, this is the 13th lecture on the topic of thanatology. And in this lecture, I will discuss the late changes after death. The late changes after death are putrefaction, mummification, and adipocere formation. The mummification and adipocere formation are basically arrest of putrefaction, and they change into these two conditions depending upon the prerequisite conditions which are available to process these changes. In this video lecture, I will start the discussion on the putrefaction. We'll come to know what are the basic two processes which are involved in putrefaction. That is autolysis and bacterial action. Then, as we know that the putrefaction has been divided into three stages, and in this lecture, I will discuss the first change in the process of putrefaction. Thank you. So, starting with the 13th lecture on the topic of thanatology, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The learning objectives of this lecture will be that we'll understand at the end of this lecture that what are the late changes which appear after death. And they are putrefaction, mummification, and adipocere formation. And the putrefactive process, as we know, it involves basically two processes, that is autolysis and bacterial invasion or bacterial infection. Then we know that the stages of putrefaction, there are three stages of putrefaction, and we'll understand what are those stages. And in this lecture, I will particularly discuss only the first stage of putrefaction, which involves the color changes, the marbling effect, the skin slip, and blistering. So we're starting the lecture, late changes. As we know, the putrefaction is the ultimate fate of all living creatures, that this organic matter has to disintegrate into inorganics. And as the constituents of the body are made up from soil, and it has to go into soil and convert into inorganics. So conversion of this organic matter into solid, gas, and liquids is the ultimate fate of putrefaction. Then there is a rest of putrefaction, and the putrefaction process change into an extraordinary phenomena, and the body may be mummified or may be converted to adipocere. But for their conversion, there are prerequisite specific conditions regarding temperature and the climate and other factors which change the body to convert into mummify or adipocere. These delayed changes are the certain diagnosis of death. And as they are progressive in nature, they also help in estimation of the time period after death. So these changes, as I already discussed, the changes after that, they appear in definitive chronological order. And similarly, this putrefaction also follow a definite chronology, and that's why it will help us in estimating the post-mortem period or the period after death. Now, starting with the topic of putrefaction. This is disintegration of organic matter into inorganics. It is one of the late signs after death, and putrefaction begins when the rigor mortis virtually ceases, and it is the most absolute signs of death. So, putrefaction is a process of decomposition by which the dead body is broken into its smaller components and its conversion from organic to inorganic state. So this decomposition or dissolution of body tissues into gases, liquids, and salts. The ultimate fate of the body by conversion of organic into inorganic state is putrefaction. So it is absolute sign of death. There are two basically processes which are responsible to cause putrefaction. The first is autolysis or self-destruction. And secondly, the bacterial action, that is the microorganisms which are contained in the intestinal flora, they play an important role. The autolysis, it is the softening and liquefaction which occurs in a tissue even under sterile conditions. And it is brought about by the digestive action of the enzymes released from the cell's lysosomes after death. So it is the release of lysosomal enzymes which causes the self-destruction of the cells. So autolysis is self-destruction by the cell's own lysosomal enzymes. And it can only be prevented by freezing. That is, the body should be subjected to minus 20 degrees Celsius or below to stop this process. The second action, the bacterial action, as we know that after death, the bacteria which are normally inhabiting in the body soon invade the tissues and the blood vessels, which is the excellent medium for their growth. As the blood is a fluid medium, rich in the supply of the metabolites which are required for the division and growth of the bacteria. So blood provides excellent medium for their growth. And most of the bacteria comes from intestine, and the Clostridium welchii, it predominates. The gas producing Clostridium welchii, it predominates amongst the bacteria, which are normal commensal of the intestines. And if the death is due to bacterial disease, some fulminating infection or other infection, then the putrefaction is rapid in onset and its course. Because these bacteria of infective nature, then they will also an important role to hasten up the process of putrefaction. The microorganisms which are involved in putrefaction, as we know in living, they are present in the body in large number, but remain under control by the defensive mechanisms of the body. But after death, these microorganisms are out of control and they multiply in number and become virulent. They enter the blood vessels and spread throughout the body. Now about the progression of putrefaction, how it progresses. That is estimated from the signs of putrefaction, which we see what are the signs which are elicited to see the progress of putrefaction. They are from the color changes, production of gases, then the pressure effect of these gases, appearance of maggots, because the putrefactive fluid is being emitted out, there is foul smell which attracts flies and they lay eggs, and the eggs hatch into maggots, and the maggots then further eat up the organic matter of the body and hasten the process of putrefaction. Then there are other sequelae or other manifestations that other rodents or animals, they attack the body and they may eat up. So these are other sequelae. So these are various signs from which we see the process of putrefaction in various stages it is. So this process generally can be divided into different stages. For better understanding, we divide these processes into stages, and these are basically three stages: stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. In this lecture, I will discuss the stage 1. Stage 1, the signs which appear in this stage, the most important are the color changes. Externally, the color change is visible as first sign is appearance of greenish discoloration over the area of cecum and in the flanks. That is the right iliac fossa, because cecum is the weakest part, and in this part the contents are more in fluid form, and it is easy for the bacteria or the organisms to invade this weak part and enter into the bloodstream. So this is the first sign when we look at the body and there is greenish discoloration in the right iliac fossa and the flanks, we say that the putrefaction has set in. And this is the indicator of the entry of body into putrefaction, that the putrefaction has started. Greenish discoloration gradually spreads to the whole body, and the color gradually changes from greenish to black. And this greenish discoloration is basically combining of hemoglobin with hydrogen sulfide and convert into sulf-met hemoglobin, which is greenish in color. So this sulfurated hydrogen combines with the hemoglobin and convert into sulf-met hemoglobin, which is greenish in color, and this greenish color is responsible for the signs of first appearance at right iliac fossa or the flanks, which is greenish color. The first sign of putrefaction is the appearance of green discoloration of lower abdomen, that is the flanks and the iliac fossa. The most important on the right iliac fossa is the first sign. It usually appears on the second or third day after death, but may even appear in 24 hours in hot weather. So the temperature of the environment plays an important role in the appearance or the hastening of the process of putrefaction. It is usually seen first on the right side of the abdomen over the cecal area, where the contents of the bowel are more fluid and full of bacteria. And here, being the weakest part, the bacteria, they invade and enters into circulation. So the basic rule is that organs which are first to putrefy, they are abundant in rich blood supply. That means the organs receiving rich blood supply are first to putrefy. And also those organs which are near to the source of bacteria. So this is the greenish color discoloration on the flanks. Blood is hemolyzed and hemoglobin is liberated. Then bacterial action is there and they releases hydrogen sulfide which combines with hemoglobin and forms sulfurated hemoglobin or sulf-met hemoglobin, which is greenish in color. Then this greenish color diffuses into the tissues and the blood vessels and then travel to the whole body. Now marbling. What is marbling? The veins, they become prominent on the chest, shoulders and groins and are seen as bluish or greenish network. And this arborescent marking of the veins is called marbling. This arborescent pattern of the blood vessels which become prominent due to conversion of hemoglobin into sulf-met hemoglobin, which is greenish in color. So this greenish blue or bluish arborizing pattern is known as marbling. In CN of the vein will show that veins are filled with gas bubbles and hemolyzing RBCs. And this marbling is due to diffusion of hemoglobin into the surrounding tissues along with the line of superficial veins. So this is the prominence of the blood vessels, superficial blood vessels, showing an arborescent pattern. This is another picture. Another one. Then the next sign is the skin slip, which in normal conditions appear in 3 to 4 days, but this process can also hasten depending upon the environmental temperatures. In this, the outer layer of the skin becomes loosened, and although the skin is apparently normal, but its surface layer can be easily rubbed off with even slight pressure to leave behind a moist pink base, which is known as skin slip. So this means the skin slips very easily with slight pressure. The superficial layers, they are easily denuded by slight pressure, that is skin slip. And this condition must be differentiated from scales or antemortem abrasion, that is the burns with hot liquids or antemortem burns, abrasions, because they show vital reaction. But here the postmortem skin slip being the postmortem phenomena will not be showing any vital reaction. So this can be easily decided because there will be no vital reaction in skin slip, but will be difficult to differentiate when postmortem scales. So from scale it is difficult to decide. Skin from the hands and feet may peel off in the form of gloves and stocking. This is also skin slip. And this is very helpful for getting fingerprints. You can get the fingerprints from the denuded skin of the hands and feet. This is the phenomenon of skin slip. You can see the superficial layer of the skin being denuded. This is the picture where the fingerprints have been obtained. So the next change is the blistering. These blisters, which are formed on the skin surfaces, which are incompletely filled with blood-stained watery fluid with putrefied odor. So these are basically false blisters because of the accumulation of the putrefactive fluid and gas. These are not like the burn blisters, which contain the fluid containing the vital reactions and abundant in other ingredients which tell the nature of it being antemortem. But the blisters which appear in the putrefaction, they do not show any sign of vitality or vital reaction, and they emit an putrefied odor from the gas which is present in them. They can be burst easily, leaving behind a same kind of slippery skin, pink skin, as in the skin slip. The gases like methane, ammonia, phosphorated hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, which is responsible for the offensive odor of the putrefaction. Now, the differences between the true blister and the putrefactive blister. The true blisters, they are antemortem, whereas the putrefactive blisters, 2 to 3 days after postmortem. Then the vital reaction regarding the true blisters, in them the vital reaction will be present, whereas in putrefactive blister, the vital reaction will be absent. The contents in the true blister, they are filled with fluids rich in albumin, whereas in putrefactive blisters, mainly it is gas, very little fluid with no albumin. And on rupturing in true blisters, fluid escapes, but blister will remain. Whereas in putrefactive blister, the gases escape and blister is no more visible. Thank you very much. So that's all about the stage 1 of putrefaction. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.